It's Bristol, baby. What's up, everybody? Thanks for watching Car Inside. It's a new season here on iRacing, and it's the first week of that new season, and we are headed to my favorite racetrack, Bristol Motor Speedway. It is my home track. I'm excited for this week. It is my favorite week in all of iRacing. Love running this place. Been to this place more than 60 times or more for NASCAR events. Love running it. So, couple things first to get out of the way that we're really excited about. Got a new paint scheme for our officials, and you can see the logo on the rear deck lid of this paint scheme here. Bobby Anderson Designs. You can find him on Trading Paints. Be sure to check him out. Tell him who sent you. But he designed this beautiful truck for us. I love it. I think this thing is sharp. Going to be running the wheels off of this thing, and couldn't ask for a better week to get our hands on this truck, on this paint, than here at Bristol. So we're going to show you guys our hot lap here. First lap is going to be a burner. Kind of getting some heat in these tires, but a little different from how things are in the past. We're going to be setting up here on top, getting a big run, but our hot lap is actually going to be run on the bottom. Here we go, setting up lap number 2 for the hot lap, using a little brake, get the truck to rotate, back in it, strong on the gas here. Key to Bristol is lifting early and driving off through the center and off the exits really hard. That is a 14.720. So we'll back it up and break it down, but as you come through turns 3 and 4, kind of lift early. I'm lifting about halfway down the back stretch. Getting a run through 3 and 4, kind of starting to get into the throttle around the first Tennessee sign. Really stand on it at the last Great Coliseum. Work your way down to this middle seam here. Get up as much speed as you can. You're going to be lifting early here. There's kind of a blank space on the wall before it starts with this red stripe before the UNOH sign. So right about here, you're going to lift, barely dragging the brake, using 68% brake bias for qualifying. So you're dragging the brake here, and then picking the throttle up at the last Great Coliseum, up off the bottom. It is very slick on the bottom. I'll show you guys a lap around the top as well. Then lifting again when you get to the end of the ZMAX sign, that little red strip on the wall. That's the gate that they use in real life to enter and exit the track. That's where you're going to be lifting off the throttle. Now turns 3 and turn 1 is a little different. Whenever you lift for turn 3, you're not going to be using any brake. You're just going to be off the brake or off the gas, no brake. You're going to start picking up the throttle very subtly around first Tennessee, and then full throttle at the last Great Coliseum. So you pick the throttle up just a little slower through 3 and 4 than what you do by just punching it in 1 and 2. But it's because the track is a little wider, it's less narrow in 1 and 2, so it's going to drive a little different. And you're going to notice that throughout the course of a race, whether you're running the top or the bottom, and it really shows in qualifying as well. Now if you move over here, I ran a lot of laps, and actually I think that the bottom is going to be just as fast, if not faster, than the top. Now we know how difficult it is to pass here, how hard it is to get runs off the bottom if you're underneath somebody, so it's going to be very difficult to pass, and you may be executing most of your passes up on top. But if you're out front in clean air, I think running the bottom could be the way to go if you can manage your tires. I'll jump ahead here and show you guys a lap where I was running the bottom. And this is about 30 to 35, let's see, it's about 32 laps into a run, but I'm just lifting pretty early around the UNOH sign, letting the truck roll, picking up the throttle, lifting before we get to this ZMAX sign. Just lifting early, rolling in, picking up the throttle, driving off. So I wasn't actually using any brakes, and that was a 15.4, about 30 some odd laps, about 35 laps into a run. That was lap 156, and we started this run I think around 122. So it was about 34 laps into a run. And then we can back up a little further here. We can show you guys a lap that was up top, and kind of do a comparison. It's kind of slick on the bottom whenever you're doing your qualifying lap, so I will try to break down a decent lap up top next to the wall. If you're not comfortable enough running the bottom, here's another lap about 20, about 25 laps into a run. We're running up top. Now the only difference is we are using brake here up top, about 60% brake bias. The UNOH sign, lifting, dragging the brake a little, kind of rolling up. It's a little more difficult to navigate the top. The line that I follow, it's a little different here, but I run in, kind of drift up above this black seam around the last Great Coliseum. It's a good reference point no matter what end of the track you're on and what line you're running. It's kind of a good reference point to pick up the throttle, but we're a little slower picking up the throttle through 1 and 2 and then punching it. And I'm kind of staying a little closer to the wall. If you notice, it's wider exiting off of turn 2, or maybe not so much wider, but the track is almost shaped like Darlington, where one end is a little wider than the other, so it's gonna taper. It feels like the track's tapering further away coming off of 2 than it is turn 4. Turn 4 feels a little bit more narrow on the exit, but coming into turn 3, same thing here. Around the Z-Max sign, lifting, dragging a little brake. Now one thing that I do different coming off of 4 than what I do 2, I kind of held up next to the wall coming off of 4. When I punch it, I turn down on this seam here, drive up and off. That's a 15.4, so both of those are around the same lap time. They're about a 5-6 lap difference. A little bit later in the run for that bottom, running at 15.4 than what I got for running up top with that 15.4. So like I say, I think the bottom, may be a little bit faster, but it's going to probably be a little harder to make those passes and everything. And the tire wear seemed to be about the same on the right front. The thing that I noticed the most with the tire wear, comparing the top to the bottom, at least the way that I drive, and I was driving on a 14-to-1 steering ratio, 62% brake bias. I think I turned that down to about a 60. Usually what I'll do is I set 62 here at Bristol. I'll crank it up 3, go to 65, and over the course of the run I'll turn it down to -3, which would be around 59. And my tires after 40 laps running the bottom on that last run were 87 on the right front, 86 on the right rear, 91 and 94. Then in comparison, whenever I ran the top a little slower, 40 laps, 87, 81, 93, and 94. So kind of do the math, give and take there a little, do some comparisons. It's really going to tell the best, and you're going to get your best result and kind of reference to go by whenever you're actually in a race in that dirty air, navigating that compared to the clean air that I'm getting out here on the track, being the only truck here in this test session. The track temperature and everything is set generic to the iRacing standard, 78 degrees, 55% humidity. Track start time is at 8:30. Now, of course, my qualifying lap was at 8:30, like it's going to be in the session, so our hot lap is accurate. But as far as the laps go that I've run here, and what I was doing for comparisons with lap times and tire wear, it's later over the course of a run. It started to get dark. Track temperature is cooled off just a bit, not much, just 1 degree. So it could be accurate to how the session's going to be as the race goes on and time advances. But of course we don't have the dirty air feature to go by, so it may not be as accurate whenever you get a bunch of trucks out on track. But I'm very hopeful that the bottom is going to pick up and it's going to create some really good racing here this week. Of course, I'm biased. It's my favorite place, so of course I'm going to be very hopeful. But I do believe that we're going to see some better races here at Bristol than what we have in the past, and it being top dominant and tough to pass. So here's to a good week at Bristol. I really appreciate all of you guys and all of the support that you give here on Car Inside week to week, doing these qualifying breakdowns and throughout all the officials. If you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate it. If you're interested in energy drinks and all that good stuff, healthy energy drinks, clean energy, head over to W Energy. Use promo code Car Inside, get 10% off. And of course, like the video. And if you have any questions, leave a comment. And if that's not good enough, jump over to the Discord that we have set up here for Car Inside. It's link to that is in the About Me section. Jump over there and shoot me a message, whatever, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. But as always, thanks for the support. As always, thanks for watching Car Inside. And as always, this may not be the fastest lap you see, but hopefully it is the most helpful and the most relatable. And we'll see you guys out on the track.